Hi, everybody. Matt Bernier, joined by DRF's national handicapper Mike Watchmaker, taking a look at this weekend's Weekend Warrior for Saturday, April the 7th, arguably the biggest racing day of the year in 2018 thus far, with Kentucky Derby preps left to right all over the place. Let's start off, Mike, down in Kentucky. It's opening weekend at Lexington, I should say, at Keeneland Racecourse. Unfortunately, it sounds like the weather could be a little bit of an issue, but as is, this is the field that's scheduled to go in the Bluegrass. You ultimately are going with Sporting Chance.
I am going with Sporting Chance here, Matt. I just feel as though, as a card-carrying horse player, I have to go against Good Magic in this race, and I feel as though Sporting Chance is the most likely alternative, at least for me. Sporting Chance, I thought, ran reasonably well in the Southwest in his first start this year. It was his first start off of a 5.5-month injury-induced layoff. He had a little bit of traffic trouble in the stretch. It was his first attempt going 2 turns. And I thought he ran okay, finishing third in that race. Last time out, he ran in the Rebel. He ran into a monster in Magnum Moon. It didn't help that he was 5 wide on the first turn and 4 wide on the far turn. I think it's interesting that Sporting Chance is a horse who last year in his 3 starts, one of them was a win in the Hopeful. He showed good sprint speed. And in both of his races this year, going 2 turns, he's rated. He's drawn the 2-hole for the Bluegrass, and my hope is they send him to the front. There isn't a tremendous amount of other speed in this race. I really think they should stop messing around with this horse. He's set for his best third start off the layoff. Send him to the front. Take your best chance, and you might be able to beat a vulnerable Good Magic, who, I thought was not very good when he finished third in the Holy Bull in his first start this year. And I just can't find an excuse for that effort. Even though it was first start off a 4-month layoff. I mean, he's out of the Chad Brown barn. He's one of the best layoff trainers in the business. Good Magic had nothing in that race. And you really have to wonder if he's made the necessary transition in terms of physical maturity from 2 to 3.
The Bluegrass is a 100-point Derby prep, as is the Wood Memorial up at Aqueduct on Saturday afternoon. It may not be the best field from a quality standpoint. You're going to go a little bit of a fresh face coming in from California.
I am. I'm going with restoring hope here. I mean, this is another situation where you've got a solid favorite, in this case, Entice, who I think is a little bit vulnerable. And the reason why I think Entice is vulnerable is, even though his win in the Gotham last time was a solid victory. I mean, he didn't beat much in that race, but it was a solid victory on his part. It was at a 1-turn mile. And I'm starting to think that Entice is really kind of a 1-turn miler. His first start this year going 2 turns in Florida was dismal. I know last year he won the Kentucky Jockey Club at Churchill going 2 turns, but that race was capital S-L-O-W. It was slow. And I thought that his effort in the Champagne when he was third, which was a 1-turn mile, was much better than that, because he was part of a very fast early pace, dropped back in the middle stages, and actually re-rallied to hit the board. I think right now, my guess is right now at this early stage of the game, Entice might be a 1-turn miler, and maybe not necessarily a horse suited for the 2 turns for the Wood Memorial, whereas I think Restoring Hope is absolutely suited for this route. He was an impressive route winner in his most recent start at Santa Anita. It was only over maidens, but he earned a buyer figure that puts him right in the mix with these horses. And I think the other thing worth noting is that Bob Baffert just continues to speak in glowing terms about this horse. And I mean, I know that you have to factor in a little politics in there as well, but still, Baffert is in a unique position to judge how good Restoring Hope might really be, because in his barn, he's got the injured McKenzie, he's got the potentially freak Justify, and he's got Solomini. I mean, he's got 3 of the best 3-year-olds in training, and he keeps on saying Restoring Hope is a real top-class horse. Well, I'm going to take that. I know he wants 2 turns, and I think he might have found the right spot in the Wood.
Out on the West Coast at Santa Anita, certainly the Santa Anita Derby is going to be an interesting race, but you're going to take a look at the Santa Anita Oaks. We lose Dream Tree due to injury. Midnight Bisou is going to take a world of beating in here. You want to take a little shot against, though?
I am. I mean, I wanted to use a Santa Anita race. I mean, there's rain in the forecast out there. I just wanted to avoid 48 hours out any of the turf stakes. And I couldn't use the Santa Anita Derby because it really is a 2-horse race between Bolt D'Oro and Justify. I probably prefer Justify just a tiny little bit, but I mean, I would use both of them. I'm really reaching trying to beat Midnight Bisou in here. She was so impressive winning her last start, but I do think Spectator has a chance to upend the apple cart here. I mean, Spectator is a filly who showed real potential last year, winning her first 2 starts, the second of which was the Sorrento. And she recently returned from a layoff and she won. And notably, she beat a handful of older opponents in that race. I think there were 4 or 5 older horses in this allowance win in her return. And now she's moving back in with straight 3-year-olds. Well, I like that move even in the fall. But at this time of year, that's a major class drop as far as I'm concerned. And, I just think Spectator is a logical alternative to the very difficult to beat Midnight Bisou.
You can find Mike's entire write-up on drf.com for the Weekend Warrior. Great stuff as always. Best of luck this weekend, and we'll talk again next week.
Thank you, Matt.